When I played the Finding Monsters game on mobile with gyro and touchscreen controls, it didn't take me long to decide that it would be great in VR. The world is bright and beautifully crafted, and the game revolves around taking pictures of lovable monsters, so it seemed like the perfect fit. I was going to send a message to developers asking if they had any plans in that direction, but before I could, it showed up on the Oculus store for Gear VR. Needless to say, I downloaded it immediately. In Finding Monsters, you are trying to snap pictures of the lovable monsters in certain situations, such as capturing the adorably puppy-like P-Rex chasing his tail, or the often cowardly Harry Scary being embarrassed. To get the monsters to behave the way you need them to sometimes requires that you burst red speech balloons that pop up beside them, but sometimes it just takes patience. And more than once it takes a quick finger because some of the poses are over almost as quickly as they begin, and if you're not fast enough, you'll miss it. This is where the game sometimes gave me trouble. There were a few times where I tapped the pad and nothing happened, resulting in me missing my shot and having to do the entire stage over again to get the picture. There were equally as many times that I swiped a balloon and it didn't pop, once again causing me to have to do the level over again. Other times I would just be hovering my finger over the trackpad waiting for my chance when my finger would lightly graze it and it would pick that up and end up wasting one of my exposures. In some levels you start with 6 exposures, and if you use them all, the level ends. In a few levels toward the end of the game, film appears in the air and you have to grab it before the monsters do and wreck it on you. They aren't very quick though, so you're usually safe if you're paying attention for the ding that lets you know it has appeared. There is also a time limit though, and that is something that I don't really understand. One of the loading screens tells you that some shots require patience, and then they give you a timer. So it's like, have patience, just not too much patience. I think it would have been better to have no time limit and just have the picture limit. That way I don't have to restart the level and make the monsters go through the same motions to get back to where I was when the timer ran out if I miss a shot. One last point of contention is that sometimes either the instructions aren't clear, or else it isn't clear what animation is the one they are looking for, or else there is one that clearly fits the description, but you don't get the ticket for it. For example, there is one with Harry Scary and a snake monster called Glitterbell, and you're supposed to get a picture of them posing together. Here's the picture I took, but it's apparently not the right one. I'm not trying to be hard on this game, but I just want to be honest about it. I don't think that any of these problems are bad enough that you should avoid the game, but they are there and they might cause some frustration. You don't have to get all of the pictures to move on though, so if one is causing you a lot of grief, just forget about it and move on. You can always come back to it later. So that's the bad out of the way. What is good about Finding Monsters? I'm happy to say quite a lot. As I said, it's gorgeous. Black River Studios seems to be home to some very talented artists. The worlds are creatively imagined, the monsters look like they've hopped out of the best children's books or movies, and though they never speak, you get a definite sense of personality through their animations. The game is simple in that if you can look around and tap the side, you will be able to play it, but its challenge lies in drawing out the actions of the monsters or being patient enough to wait for it to happen, then being quick enough with your finger. There is a good chance you will have to do a level several times if you want to complete every challenge. There's a lot of content here as well. There are 3 worlds with 5 levels in the first 2 worlds and 3 in the last. There does seem to be space for 2 more levels in World 3. I don't know if that is because they use the same carousel as the first 2 worlds and just left the final 2 spaces empty, or if it's because if you get all of the tickets it unlocks new levels. I'm not too proud to admit that I haven't gathered all of the tickets yet, but I have gathered some from every level. A final point that I'll mention has a time limit on it. Right now, that's Christmas 2015 for you future kids watching this, the game is free. That's a good deal. I don't know how long this will go on for, but if you haven't played it yet, you're going to want to jump over to the Oculus store right away and grab it, because when it is no longer free, you'll have to shell out $7.99 for it. It's worth it, sure, but why pay that when you don't have to? Well, that's it. Thanks for tuning in to another VR Giant video review. For the game breakdown and final score, head over to vrgiant.com. While you're there, sign up for the newsletter. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe down below to stay current on all VR Giant video content.